All right. Good evening. Okay. All right. We're going to call to order our planning commission meeting of Monday, August 10th at 7 p.m. Want to do a quick roll call. Commissioner Tony,
Present.
Commissioner Wood,
Here.
Commissioner Russell,
Here.
and Chairman Nickerson. We are here. That's four. We have enough commissioners for a quorum. At this time, I'd like to get a motion to adopt the agenda.
So move.
Have a
Second.
motion by Commissioner Tony and a second by Commissioner Russell. Call for the vote. Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Tony,
Yes.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
and I approve. That motion carries 4-0. Now I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes of the July 13th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for July 13th, 2026.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Russell,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Wood, and we will call for a vote on that. Commissioner Tony,
Yes.
okay, Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
and I approve. That motion carries 4-0. This time, I will ask for Mr. Tabor for presentations. Oh, okay. How you doing, sir?
I'm sorry.
So, we'd like to welcome Commissioner Beisel to the Planning Commission meeting. That takes our roll call to 5. Commissioner Beisel, we did vote on the adoption of the agenda for for the meeting and the adoption of the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Would you like to vote on those as
Oh, yeah,
well?
I would
You
approve
approve?
those.
Okay, so that those both carry 5-0. All right, so at this time, Mr. Tabor,
Mr. Chair, could we move to the item 6, old business and
okay,
public hearings?
okay. So we're going to move to old business and point 1.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Great, thank you. So first on the agenda is REZ 2026-001. And this is a public hearing and consideration of a resolution recommending town council adoption of an ordinance approving an application to rezone approximately 15.33 acres identified as GPIN or parcel identification numbers 828924-2502, 8289-14-701, and 8289-148945, addressed as 17439 and 17471 Old Stagecoach Road and right-of-way, respectively. And the rezoning would be from M1 Limited Industrial District to B1 General Business District. Next, please. So the town of Dumfries has received an application from Bridgeline Development Group LLC requesting approval of REZ 2026-001, an application to rezone from M1 to B2. I'm sorry, M1 to B1. The site is approximately 15.33 acres located at the intersection of Route 1 and Potomac Shores Parkway, identified as the GPIN numbers previously provided and the addresses previously stated as well. The rezoning is requested to allow the development of an approximately 50,325 square foot grocery store with a drive-through pharmacy, approximately 6,700 square feet of inline retail space, and associated site improvements. Next, please. The proposed development includes approximately, as stated, 50,325 square feet of grocery store, approximately 6,700 square feet of inline retail, a drive-through pharmacy, outdoor dining area, and associated parking and site improvements. So with regard to the zoning, the subject property is currently zoned M1, Limited Industrial District. The proposed commercial use is not permitted in the M1 Limited Industrial District. The proposed use is allowed in the B1 General Business District, and the proposed rezoning would change the zoning district of the property from M1 to B1, and grocery stores and general retail are permitted within the B1 district. Next, please. Staff reviewed the submitted application materials and evaluated the proposal against the applicable zoning regulations. The adjacent property to the northwest or west and south are all zoned B1, general business. The property to the east of the subject property is zoned R1, limited residential. The town code requires a solid wall or fence 6 feet in height with its finished side facing the adjacent residential lot, and that it shall be erected on the lot, providing parking where a parking area for a medical, hospital, commercial, or industrial use adjoins a lot in a residential district or is located closer than 100 feet to a lot in a residential district without an intervening street. Staff finds that the proposed commercial zoning is more compatible with adjacent zoning districts than the current industrial zoning.
Cool.
So these maps illustrate the location of the property on the town zoning map, and we can see in the kind of purple shaded areas the parcels, and again they are zoned M1. Next, please. And this illustrates an outline of a general outline of the parcels on an aerial photo. Next, please. So with regard to the town's comprehensive plan, Destination Dumfries 2044 comprehensive plan designates the property as mixed use, and staff reviewed the proposal for consistency with the comprehensive plan's land use and economic development policies and considered the applicant's justification regarding redevelopment of the site. Staff find that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Next slide, please. And this illustrates the future land use map of the comprehensive plan, and the arrow and outlined area show the proposed site. Next, please. So with regard to staff's recommendation, staff recommends adoption of the resolution recommending town council adoption of an ordinance approving REZ 2026-001 to rezone approximately 15.33 acres from M1 Limited Industrial District to B1 General Business District, identified as GPINs 8289-24-2502, 8289-14-7901, and 8289-14-8945, and addressed as 17439 and 17471 Old Stagecoach Road and right of way. And that concludes my presentation, and the applicant also submitted a presentation document. Can we pull that up, please? Great, thank you. And we do have whatever you prefer. Okay. You're off camera over here.
Oh. I'm used to standing up. It's just.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you. And do you have village?
We can just ask him to advance. the
Okay,
slide.
okay,
Yes.
all right. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Noah Klein. I'm with the law firm of Venable, here to present tonight the Dumfries Grocery and Retail. With me tonight are representatives from the applicant, Bridgeline Development, and our civil engineer, Timmons Group. We are real excited to be here in front of you all tonight. This is a project that we've been working on for a while. We, I think originally we're going to come to you all a little earlier this summer. We wanted to kind of push that off and get in front of you today to do, additional work on the application, a little more detail, and also we held a community meeting downstairs last month that was very well attended. We had some really good feedback, some good questions, and so we're happy to talk about this project. I know Reggie or Mr. Tabor just provided you with presentation, so I'll be wary about going over what you all just heard, but there was a couple things I wanted to point out, so maybe we'll just make our way through. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's the area, context, the site. I know you just saw this, but I think for just additional detail, we sit at this, pretty highly visible juncture at the intersection of Route 1 and the new Potomac Shores Parkway. I mean, you all have probably passed by it a bunch of times, probably already today. So you're all familiar with the site. The Potomac Shores Parkway, this is the first phase of that development, which will ultimately extend up to Potomac Shores in the county. It's clearly a highly visible sort of gateway property for the town of Dumfries. The current situation with the property, this has been a long time auto salvage yard. A lot of work needs to be done on this property to develop, to get it off the ground. There's a couple other issues we'll talk about in a second. But we think that at this location, this presents really a pretty unique opportunity for the town to have a new development right at that gateway that we hope will help sort of kick off some revitalization and redevelopment and further into some of the other things that the town is looking at, in particular the upcoming small area plans, all sort of under the aegis of the Destination Dumfries 2044 plan. Next slide, please. So here's the comp plan. I think Mr. Tabor just discussed that. I don't think we need to talk about it any further. Next slide, please. So here are the four applications that we are asking for your positive recommendation from y'all. The rezoning, of course, from light industrial to from industrial to commercial. 3 associated conditional use permits. 1 to permit a drive-through pharmacy. 1 to permit off-site sales of beer and wine, and 1 for a comprehensive sign plan. This, as you saw from some of the materials, you'll see it here. This is being proposed as an anchor grocery store with inline tenant spaces and want a certain degree of control over the signage. Everything's supposed to be a little uniform, and so we have the sign plan. Next slide, please. So this area, this project revitalizes an area that, again, has been characterized by auto salvage uses and uses that really we don't feel operate to really put this property and position this property to its highest potential. It will reinvigorate this area right, again, at a very visible intersection and entrance to the town. We do have a development and an applicant that can work with the pretty challenging site constraints here, and are committed to seeing this project through for it being successful. And this will bring, by our recollection, the first only regional grocery store, second pharmacy to the town of Dumfries. Next slide, please. So this is the primary plan. We call it the expanded retail option. And so what we're looking at here again is the basic layout of the plan at a sort of a higher level. This is the zoning side of things. Things will get more detailed when things get more and more fully engineered at the site plan submission. But we are showing plan with a certain level of detail. We are committed in our proposed proffers to conform substantial conformance with the plan. And this shows the footprint of the buildings, of the grocery store and the retail space. And the site is situated to really accommodate some of these existing conditions. I would say about 5 acres of this property is subject to a Dominion high transmission easement. It makes things challenging from a development standpoint. We're fortunate in that we have a project where, by the nature of the project, we can shift things and put a lot of that space that's in this easement area within parking. But otherwise, there isn't, there's not a really large degree of allowance from Dominion to have vertical development within those easements. So this, what we call the expanded retail, this is our primary option. Would we be working with Dominion to allow just a tiny bit of encroachment of the building into its existing easement corridor? And just being able to do that, we're able to expand our retail component, the inline retail spaces that Mr. Tabor talked about a moment ago. Provide expanded retail, ancillary retail to the main grocery anchor. Expanded open area for outside seating. We sort of envision that retail space, multiple tenants, end capped with a restaurant style use. And so we've accommodated for that with some outdoor seating out there. And so that is our primary plan. We have more parking spaces than we need, and that's not a bad thing. We're able to shift the location of our stormwater pond outside of the Dominion easement to a certain degree. And again, really able to design the project so that we can accommodate ourselves with some of these challenges we see on site. We have a drive-through circulation. You can see it to the right-hand side of the grocery store for the pharmacy. This is not going to be a 24-hour operation. The grocery is it's a morning to evening operation, but it's not a 24-hour operation. And next slide, please. And so this would be the alternate plan that still accommodates the primary building, a tiny diminution in the retail, and this assumes that Dominion isn't ultimately going to be accommodating here. There have been ongoing discussions with them. We're feeling pretty optimistic, but we've built into the plans and to our proffers this alternative in the event that we get further down the line, if we're fortunate to move the project forward, and we understand when things get to a point where we're really ready to put a site plan in, the Dominion is not going to be accommodating there. But otherwise, the site layout dynamics all remain the same. The main difference is, again, the slight diminution, about 1,000 square feet in the retail. Next slide, please. So this just gives you an overall sense of where the site sits relative to the overall transportation network. I'm sure you're all familiar with what ultimately will be the full Potomac Shores Parkway condition. We're in this phase one. The subsequent phases occur, further south, east, further in the southeastern direction. But this, I think, helps sort of place the site in the context of what's happening around. There'll be a lot of traffic being generated, a lot of efficient movements going to be happening in the future with the ultimate build-out condition here, and we're sort of primed to take advantage of that with this site. All right, next slide, please. This just gives you a sense of what our transportation improvements on that parkway are going to be. We will have a dedicated right turn in and taper into the site. And then our other recommendations from our analysis was to work with VDOT on the signal to accommodate a future right-hand turn movement. All right, next slide, please. So here are the elevations. These are also proffered for conformance. The main building and the intended retail primary brick, which is a durable, classic, something that will essentially stand the test of time. So we have primary brick with some metal accents, but otherwise it's a very sort of classic design, and again something durable, something that that has some modern touches, but also sort of retains that very sort of classic structure. And then you can see the sort of individuals there for scale of the building, and then point out the signage too. This will give you a sense of the scale of the signage for the main grocer and for the tenant retail spaces. Next slide, please. So these are the side and rear elevations. Again, we are proffering to conformance to these elevations. Next slide, please. Monument sign elevations. Again, we have the individuals there for some scale. But again, sort of emphasizing that brick and sort of giving that very sort of classic, durable appearance. Next slide, please. And these are illustratives. These are intended to show you the project at full build out inside, in the context of what's around. So we have different perspectives of the project from on the upper right-hand corner, that's from Route 1. The perspective here on this far, on the left-hand side, that's at the site entrance off of Potomac Shores Parkway. Another perspective from Route 1, and then the rear perspective from Summer Duck Court. Next slide, please. And so for economic community development, we would maintain that this would be an improvement in economic, an improvement over the existing condition in terms of revenue, in terms of really just showing what can happen here at a very visible corner and entranceway to the town. We think that, what in view of what's happening with the comp plan and view of the small area plans, it really takes some new development to come in and kickstart that process and have the development that you're seeking sort of have that spotlight onto the town. And we think that this project will help accomplish that. We'll have new jobs and improved community access to health and quality food. Next slide, please. And so that is the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have, and ultimately, we would be very grateful and happy to enjoy your support to move this forward if you so desire. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tabor,
Yes.
do we want to open it up for public hearing now or ask any questions that we may have?
The public hearing would be appropriate.
Okay, so we're going to open up the public hearing on this first bullet of the proposed changes. Is there anyone signed to speak? Okay. You just gonna check with Cheryl? Okay, thank you. Okay. Um, given none, we can close the public hearing.
Yes.
At this time, I will ask commissioners if anyone has a question for the applicant. Start with you, Commissioner Tony.
Well, couple of things that come to mind. I hear the comment that this is bringing this to the town, particularly this grocery store. But the reality is, you got Walmart, which is probably 100 yards away. You got Food Line, which is probably 90 yards away. These grocery stores in the same pocket, although they're outside the town limits, but the town citizens use those places. And I don't know. And then in recent memory, Shoppers up the street, they closed because of I guess a lack of business. I don't know. And I guess I'm not maybe I don't have the projection. I just don't see where this, can it be supported? That's the question that comes to mind to me. Well, this is another business that come and 5 years from now it's gone because of lack of support. And you all have to there's a whole lot of mitigating that site. That's going to require a couple of, might billions of dollars. Look at it. All of these depictions show this thing at grade. But the reality is that's almost like a hole down in there. So how do you all propose to build it up and make it solid so that the ground, once the movement come around, there won't be sinks. I mean, those are things to consider. And I know engineers, like I said earlier, engineers can build anything anywhere. But to me, that's a significant challenge there. I'd just like to hear you all provide a little elucidation on just how you planning on making that site, bringing it to the point where they can accommodate what I see almost look like a strip mall.
I think I appreciate the question. I think I can start answering that, and then I think the applicant may shed some additional light there.
Okay.
So you're right. The site is going to take some work, and there's fill that's going to be involved. There's going to be some dirt. It's going to need to be trucked in there to get things even. We have a retaining wall in the back to grade out the site, and it's not insubstantial. I'll defer to the applicant, who has probably a better command of some of the very specific construction and grading and engineering that's involved. But I'll say this, that you're absolutely right. It's not inexpensive, but it's that cost that this applicant is aware of, and going in with eyes wide open as to what this site entails to put together the project that we presented to you. That also speaks to their commitment and their understanding of the potential for success at this location. And it is within the town. I think that's an important distinction between the others that you referenced. This is in the town, and this is sure it's a it's a 50,000 square foot grocery with attendant retail. It's going to have draw outside of Town of Dumfries, but it's a Town of Dumfries project. And so we think, we would argue that that's important. And so combined with this very specific location and identification of this site to bring this project to the town, combined with the applicant's understanding that it's going to require quite a bit to put this together. But that commitment, they can weather that. They can do it. And again, everyone's going in with eyes wide open what's required here. And then probably if there was anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah, there's you're exactly right. There's a hole that it presently is there. We have approximately 100,000 cubic yards of import of dirt that would need to be brought in. And so we've already been in many discussions with a variety of different sources, knowing that that is harder in this area, but there is a large amount of imports that will be brought in for the site. Additionally, we've done a tremendous amount of borings on site to take a look at what, there's Comic Shores clays that are in this area that the technical engineer is very knowledgeable about the soil conditions in this area, what kind of things we need to do to accommodate the soils. So we are anticipating, and we know that we'll have to do some ground improvement for that retaining wall, the large retaining wall. So that's something that we're in process of evaluating what types of ground improvements. Oh, I'm so sorry. So we're in process of evaluating what type of ground improvements are those, what is the best way to improve the soil and the ground to accommodate the retaining wall. That will likely be across that entire area of the large retaining wall that we're planning for, and potentially other areas if it is needed. So we've spent quite a bit of time already taking a look at the geotechnical aspect of that, and we'll continue to do so once our civil engineer gets into the actual design. We'll go back and we'll tweak that further. We have a specialty retaining wall designer that would be designing that wall. It's not going to be your standard MSE type block wall. It will be a very specialty wall to make sure that it's stable. There's the grocer takes a factor of safety and retaining walls very seriously. So all of those things would be part of our consideration in our design.
Just to kind of piggyback on something you said, for quite a while, there was a salvage yard there.
Mhm.
So with salvage yards, you got oil leakage in the grounds and all the other things. Have y'all tested the soil to ensure that once you all erect something there won't be any kind of toxicity?
Yes,
You know?
yes, we have done our environmental assessment.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so you all are pretty comfortable with the idea of competing with the other two grocery stores.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Well, I'll defer, you know.
All right. Commissioner Wood?
Have we disclosed the name of the grocery store yet, or we're not
Not
owning that right now?
not at this time.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna make us wait.
Um,
Commissioner Russell?
Yes, I'd like to thank everyone, the applicant, the consultants for putting together this application. I do believe that this would definitely be a fit for the town. And as has been stated again, this is a very challenging site. It's a wonderful thing about Dumfries is we have many challenging sites. And I appreciate that you looked at this site and just didn't walk away from it. That being said, I do have a couple comments and concerns, questions. I'll start with the retaining wall on the backside. One of the requirements is to have a 6-foot high wall or fence between the parking lot and the adjacent residential. My question um, is it an additional 6 feet above what is shown here for the retaining wall? So your parking level, you'll have another 6 feet above that? Or are you considering that the retaining wall itself is enough of a barrier and separation with your grade separation that is not needed?
So once we get into our actual design, some of that will be fully fleshed out as to how that kind of plays out. For example, typically on top of all of our retaining walls, it would be a minimum of a 4-foot fence. That would just be something we would have. Some retaining walls will have a 1 or 2 foot reveal from grade. And so would be something that we'd have to figure out how that reveal plays out once we get into grading.
Okay.
And if it would be a 6-foot fence on top or a 4-foot with a 2-foot reveal.
Okay. Because my concern is, all my concerns revolve around the residential that's
Mhm.
adjacent. And I understand you're saying this is not a 24/7 operation, but being elevated, my concern is the headlights projecting into that neighborhood and what effect that will have. So that's why I was curious if there will be an opaque fence structure, whatever, to make sure that that is addressed.
I can, if I may, I think I can touch upon that too. If it's possible to pull up the presentation, if we can show that the first site plan or the first plan, do we have? Yes, if we can go back. But I think Commissioner Russell, I just want to shed additional light here, some clarification. Keep going. Till we get to, we really keep going one more. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So the residential, I believe you're referring to is off of Summer Duck, the cul-de-sac.
Correct.
So right where that cul-de-sac is, that's where that rear of that retaining wall you saw in the illustratives. So it's about, the grade difference is about between where the edge of that cul-de-sac to our grade level, about 50 feet, 40 feet difference in elevation. So when you get to the edge of that retaining wall, then that's the area we have for the stormwater. So from the edge of that retaining wall to the drive aisle, it's about 200 feet. So there's distance there. Because it's interesting, we had this discussions, one of the folks that lived right in the bulb of that cul-de-sac was at our community meeting, we were talking about this. And the buildings, everything is set back, a bit of a distance from the edge of that retaining wall, not to mention it's higher up. So we're not, I'd say we're not anticipating any of those issues. I couldn't tell you where those issues would come from, being at that elevation and being set back.
Okay.
This is the way I think, just to kind of clarify what we're looking at.
Okay. And to go with that, I'm sorry, did you want?
No,
So again, the parking lot, and I know, again, this is very conceptual, and I do understand and respect that the civil engineers will do the site plan and do it correctly. But I'm bringing up these issues because the town in the past has had rezonings come before us, and little details were not included in part of the rezoning, which I feel they should have been addressed, or at least bring it to the light that we are concerned about this. In this case, I realize this is conceptual. There was a conceptual landscape plan, but there was not any type of where the lighting would be for that, and I realized that site plan. However, I think in the proffers there should be addressed that, especially where the residentials are, that there are light cutoff fixtures, so there's be 0 candles at the property line, so that way there is no light spillage into those homes. I realize it's not 24/7, however, you will be having those lights on there for security at night.
Sure, and the lights that we'll at least have in the parking area, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, they're all full cutoff fixtures.
Okay.
But we're happy to sort of take a look at that, whatever clarification, whatever,
Right.
if we're fortunate enough to move forward to the town council, certainly happy to accommodate that.
Right, and I appreciate that. And then if you look at, and I realize this is only for illustrative purposes only, but when you take a look at the illustrative that is showing the backside there with the retaining wall and the proposed of what it will look like, I guess my concern is the intention of what the planting is supposed to be. I personally do not think that with the existing vegetation, it will ever come close to looking as lush as it does in that illustrative. But that being said, I'm asking, is there any additional planting or buffering that's going to be done from the property line, not in the right of way, but from the property line to where the BMP pond is going to be? In that area, any supplemental planting
Yes.
to help soften, because I realize site plan will be engineered and it'll be engineered differently, but there won't be really any planting up against that wall because of structural easements and like that for that wall. And also, I don't know the BMP, what's going to be, more than likely, I'm guessing it's going to be grasses or something like that, not actual trees. So if there's going to be any type of softening of that 20-foot plus retaining wall that's there, it's going to be in between, in that small, I'll call it buffer area between the pond and the property line. And again, my concern is because it's against that residential neighborhood, that if the applicant and the consultants could take into consideration some type of planting buffer there to help supplement whatever they maintain and save. Again, I realize that site plan, the engineer may have to grade all the way to the property line. And I honestly, I don't expect that there's a requirement that they have to save all the existing vegetation, because at the end of the day, when the engineers have to grade out, you have to meet grade. So I've asked that they consider the landscaping for that. My other comment is landscaping in the parking lot. The concept showed some of the landscaping, and my only comment would be that the civil engineer, the landscape architect, please take into consideration that it is a parking lot, and that the plantings are appropriate for the parking lot, not only that they can, and I don't know if the applicant or the final owner is going to have it all irrigated, but my point is, one, the ultimate size of the plant matters. If you look at Target, they planted grasses in there. Those grasses create blind spots for people trying to pull out into the main thing. So safety is my concern. And then also, if you look at, I would assume that it's not going to be irrigated and that the plantings should be able to withstand being in a parking lot in the baking sun and like that, and not have to have irrigation, because otherwise you end up with looking like Walmart, where the trees are still there, but everything else they had put in there with that did not survive. So now it's gravel. So I just asked with intent that it's done with intent and it's done with thought out. So
Sure.
And that was all my comments. But thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for your time.
Sure. No, thank you.
Can I ask you, and I was looking down, so I didn't realize we pulled out of that. I know it's like this is just a drawing, but can we go to the actual picture of that cul-de-sac? Not that plan, the picture towards the back.
There we go.
Okay, and then I think go one more. I think it was a little. Okay, I thought it was one that was a little bit bigger. Okay, so to the left of that, as you're looking at this picture here, the left side of that, and this is really piggybacking off of what Commissioner Russell said. That house on that left side, their front door is facing that parking lot. The one on the right, it's the right side of their house. And I think that's critical, what you're saying with the lighting. Even though that sits back like that, I guess all that hasn't been totally thought out of what that design is going to be. But depending on how much lighting is back there and the height of those poles, if they're going to be on poles, that light will still reflect out somewhat, depending on what that height is. Has anybody maybe taken in consideration that back line? Because I'm looking at those cars, and I know, it's just a drawing at this point, but possibly have whatever fixtures are on that back wall facing into the parking lot instead of something overhead.
And the applicant or civil could correct me on this one, but the lighting on site is going to be in the area north or west of the parking lot of the drive lot. So we're not going to have any lighting within the stormwater pond area, which is just on the other side of that.
Okay, I'm just looking, like, when I see that, I can see cars right there that are pretty close to that edge, if that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Is that not vehicles right there?
I think that's the top of the, that might be
But-
a car, but
Yeah, and that's what I'm
And
saying.
that's-
Like, just going off of that, I would assume there would be some lighting back that far, but that's, I know this isn't a total design, but the main thing I do, because that's my neighborhood, and that house down there,
Mhm.
they're definitely facing right there. So that would need to be a big consideration for it.
and you are correct, because those lights are going to be 40 feet in the air.
So they face that way. The other house on that left side faces this way, and then the only one that faces into the cul-de-sac is that one on the right. Then everybody else is facing into the street like that. I think these two on this side would be the ones that would be most affected by whatever type of lighting that would be there. And I can already hear that, like, once it's done, and that's going to be and those trees that's been a challenge anyway. That whole hill. Matter of fact, that drawing, that one tree on the right, that's a stump right now because the tree died. So that whole trying to get us a good buffer, even when the car place was there, it just never came into fruition like it was supposed to.
Yeah, and we do have, and so our plans do have a landscape buffer on the top, on the grade level side of the retaining wall. In our plans. The lighting fixtures are going to be, if you recall that where the edge of that retaining wall is to across the stormwater pond to the drive aisle is about 200 feet. And then even further beyond that is where you have the parking lot. So light fixtures are going to be full cutoff. I can tell you that we'll take a look at what the glare would be from the full cutoff fixture, and we can clarify that. I would suspect, though, that it's not going to have any spillover from this particular vantage point here. But happy to sort of take a look at that.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
We're talking about the Summer Duck community, but have you all taken consideration the impact on the Rose Hill community, which is closer? Are you familiar with the Rose Hill community, right?
We're familiar.
To me, this rendition, it appears that it'll be closer to the Rose Hill community than the Summer Duck. I mean, I haven't driven up there, but just Rose Hill is right there, is the first community once you go down Possum Point Road to the left.
So when we had our community outreach and we wanted to get all the folks that, touch upon this site. We sent those around. I know I remember talking to folks from Summer Duck. There are a handful of folks who live along there that we spoke with. It's possible we talked to some folks from that community. Maybe they just didn't announce who they were. But we think from that meeting, we got a pretty good idea of the concerns folks would have if they live either in that cul-de-sac or they live in Rose Hill community. And we think our project can coexist with those communities.
I was also at the meeting downstairs,
Mhm.
and I would say 65, maybe 75% of those people was from the Potomac Shores.
We did have a host of folks from over there.
Right, and they were very vocal,
Mhm.
about their sentiments regarding this project. But again, the Rose Hill community up there, I haven't heard much conversation about them. And I think the points that Commissioner Russell talk about light spillage and all that, they'd have more impact on the Rose Hill community than it would on Summer Duck. I mean, just in terms of proximity. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Right.
So I mean, I'm not hearing anybody make any kind of comments about, I hear you talk about retaining walls, the lighting, but that community is definitely will be impacted by what you are proposing to put here. So I guess my point being, are there any evidence that these people have been notified or they are aware of what's going on? Because it's definitely going to impact them, particularly with the lighting.
Well, I can certainly tell you that when we sent out our notices for the community meeting, we wanted to make sure we cast a pretty good net there to make sure, folks who live, even if they're next door, approximate, that they would have gotten invited. And then we obviously, there's mail notice that goes out to, I think it's 500 feet from the property line, in advance of this meeting. So,
Mhm.
and look, it's not to say that it's not something that, if again, we're able to move forward, we still have, we've got another vote we would obviously need to get to. We want to, we're sort of taking stock of these concerns and, something that we'll take a look at and something that we can clarify and be prepared to clarify, if we're able to go further down the line.
Mhm. In the past, I've heard people say we'll take a look at it, but that's nothing definite. They're just saying we'll take a look at it. That's not saying that we will address this to the concern or something concrete. To me, you're saying I'll take a look at it. That's kind of like brushing it off.
Well, I think what I'm saying is, in terms of, let's just say, the light spillover, I'm not entirely sure that that's going to be an issue given where the project sits, where the lighting fixtures sit relative to the folks at the cul-de-sac. So take a look at
Which
that.
cul-de-sac are you referring?
Summer Duck.
Summer Hill? Summer Duck?
Summer Duck.
Okay, and I'm talking about Rose Hill.
I know. No, I know you are. I know you are. So what I'm saying is that it's something that, we'll be prepared to clarify if we're able to move forward. We just have to ensure that, is there in fact going to be the issue? I think we appreciate y'all raising it, but we need to make sure that there is in fact going to be issues. Probably may not be.
Okay, that's to me, that's more concrete statement. It don't appear that you all have considered them or you all really have been looking at Rose Hill. That's why I'm bringing that up. I'm
No.
hearing a lot about the other area, but that area is farther away than Rose Hill, which is right there. That's all I'm saying. That you look at the impact this project will have on that community. I think those homeowners been there a long time too, and they want some kind of consideration. You know what I mean?
No, understood.
Okay,
Understood.
so let me pass it on. But
I
again,
will say too, Commissioner Tony, and I only say this because it kind of perplexed me the way it was. I understand the landscape of that layout because of the kids from my neighborhood
Mhm.
coming back through there, and me trying to figure out how the heck they was getting up there to Route 1 so quick. It does, even though they're right there, the way that thing turns and comes in relation to how they got it designed, that lighting does really affect, based off this design, Summer Duck a little
More
more
so
than
than
West Lake.
Rose Hill?
Because of the way the property is.
Okay.
I mean, it's weird. It didn't make any sense to me when I was first looking at it. When I first moved there. But I get that part. I didn't really think about Rose Hill because of knowing how that went, how
Sure.
that area went back in there.
Yeah.
But it is actually, I mean, something to consider. Like you saying, I trust that y'all would do your due diligence when the time comes to make sure that those houses aren't affected.
At least affected as least as possible. And I'm gonna take a ride up there because I haven't. I've been there doing campaigns or whatever, and
Yeah.
I know how the area is set. And again, I'm hearing you talk about an area that's further away, than the Rose Hill area, and because that's definitely closer to what you're doing here than. And again, I think those people, homeowners there, deserve some kind of consideration also, just in the conversation.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Basil?
No, I'm thoroughly impressed with this application and plan. I feel like you guys have also answered our questions tonight pretty thoroughly. I mean, even just mentioning like, hey, we tested the clay, little things like that. It seems like as far as the plan goes, I can see where it's going. I can see the success of it. I think we are into the nitty gritty of it, and that's exciting. I can see with Rose Hill being on the back of the property where you will get less light spillage than up front. As far as the things that I really thought about, I got real excited when you talked about exterior dining. Is that going to be interior and exterior dining for the grocer, or are we talking for the retailers? I think any kind of outdoor dining in Dumfries. I mean, we've got Jimmy T's that does it. I think it's the only business right now that has exterior seating. So that's pretty exciting. I think so that's one thought. The other, like, if I had any concern that I don't think has been addressed with the water spill, with the storm water drain, is that going to be aerated or pest controlled in any kind of way? Don't want any kind of stagnant water sitting there so close, especially we keep bringing up Summer Duck, or as part of our area there, we don't want a mosquito bed. I know that the grocer and retailers will have pest contracts most likely, so that'll be taken care of, but the pond itself, I think also could be really cool if it had a fountain in it, it can be a visual piece of decor that would also aerate the pond a little bit. So
Yeah, it depends on what the final design is. They actually do a dry pond.
a dry pond, okay.
Dry or wet.
Yeah, so we have, of course, summers that are drought like here in Northern Virginia, and then there may be summers where that pond is filled to the brim every single day. And so I would consider it in the pest control contract to say, hey, are we taking a look at this pond? Are we getting a million mosquitoes that are breeding in the pond one summer? It might not be every summer, but we don't want to create a hot spot for that. So, and then is the south entrance going to be a main or second? It's obviously not the main entrance, but will it be a public and secondary entrance into the parking area? So if somebody wanted to enter every single time from the south, they could?
They could. That's
Okay.
correct.
I like that as well. And then finally, another consideration is the steep grade coming down to Potomac Shores Parkway. Obviously, I think the shopping carts will have automatic stops on them, so we don't have carts running loose going down that big hill into the highway. But
Yeah, the parking lot's going to be level grade.
yeah.
So all the carts, everything's going to be contained within there.
when one person's cart gets away, isn't there kind of like going to be a downgrade down to Potomac Shores? It looked like kind of like a round, or is that just the illustrative drawing kind of tricking us?
I think, go ahead.
There is, yes, there's about it's 8-9% slope from Potomac Shores Parkway up to the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fairly significant grade, enough where if one cart on a bad day got away and went into the highway, modern shopping carts oftentimes have cart stops once you reach the border of the facility, keep people from stealing them, or there's bumps that, you could drive over and keep a cart from coming in there, but just don't want a cart to go into rush hour one day.
We can take a look at that and see.
Okay.
And to your question about the outdoor dining, it
Mhm.
would be both.
Oh, okay.
There would be outdoor dining for the retail
Yeah.
building, and then the grocer also has outdoor seating as well, usually in front.
For the applicant, I do think that would bring an edge over some of their competing businesses. So.
Okay, good.
Okay. I'll go back around. Any
This is
other
just the
commissioners
first,
got anything?
this is the first one.
Yeah, I know it's the first. All right, and I'm good. Commissioner Russell had a lot of my thoughts in here, so I'm good on any questions I got at this moment. With that being said, thank you for that presentation, and we are ready to go into the next one, right?
So the conditional use permits are conditioned on the rezoning application, and this isn't a final approval. Ultimately, it's a recommendation council, but you may want to take a vote
Okay.
on the rezoning, and there is a resolution associated with the and the resolution is to of the rezoning application.
I have a question. If I would like to propose a condition or an added proffer for that the applicant will work towards and provide that, and again, I know that they have stated in this meeting, but I do not believe that we have any requirement that the light fixtures are zero cutoff. And I would just like to have, if we do not have any regulations for that, I would like to propose that we add that as a condition. And I'm asking, do we do that condition in the rezoning for the entire site, or would it be specifically in one of the conditional use permits?
Oh,
So the conditional use permits are specific to
The use,
drive-through and the alcohol sales
right?
and the comprehensive sign plan. So and with regard to proffers, they cannot be compelled. They have to be offered
Okay,
by the applicant. But with regard to lighting, we can, you can direct, or I won't say direct, request or recommend that within the site plan review and approval process, every effort be made to eliminate any light bleed or impact on adjacent neighborhoods from lighting associated with the development.
right. Okay,
And we'll definitely take that into
okay.
advisement.
So with what's here, we don't need to make any changes to the wording and the rezoning or anything like that, correct? We don't have to propose any changes. We can keep it as is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, because right now we're just, you need to make a motion to approve the rezoning,
Request.
the request for the
Yes,
rezoning.
adopt, recommend adoption of the ordinance approving the rezoning.
I'm gonna make the motion to approve the reordinance to
Second.
adopt the rezoning.
Okay, so we got a motion by Commissioner Bizel and a second by Commissioner Russell, and we'll call for the vote. Commissioner Tony,
Aye.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bizel,
Yes.
and I approve. That motion carries 5-0. All right, now we will move on to the second of our,
Can I,
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the applicant would like to say something.
just, if I can clarify, so the main presentation discussion I gave really is meant to encompass all the applications. But we're happy to answer any specific questions you may have about the conditional use permits. Again, that's for the comprehensive sign plan, off-site sales of alcohol, and the drive-through for
okay,
the pharmacy. But it was all essentially bundled into that discussion.
okay, so if you don't have a presentation separate for each one, you have something though, right? So we have to do a public hearing separate for each bullet, and so Mr. Tabor needs to continue on to number 2 of this presentation.
Great. Yes, and we'll try to move through this relatively quickly because a lot of these, well, as the applicant mentioned, the items have been discussed. So this is CUP 2026-002. Next slide, please. And this is a public hearing and consideration of a resolution recommending town council adoption of an ordinance approving an application for a conditional use permit to permit a drive-through pharmacy within the proposed grocery store development on approximately 15.33 acres located at the intersection of Route 1 and Potomac Shores Parkway, identified as GPINs A289-24-2502, A289-14-701, 7901 and 8289-14-8945, addressed to 17439 Old Stagecoach Road, 17471 Old Stagecoach Road, and right-of-way respectively. Next, please. The town of Dumfries has received an application from Bridgeline Development Group, LLC, requesting approval of a conditional use permit to allow a drive-through pharmacy as part of a proposed grocery anchored commercial development located at the intersection of Route 1 and Potomac Shores Parkway. And we discussed the location and the parcel numbers. Next slide, please. The conditional use permit application is being considered concurrently with the rezoning application REZ 2026-001, which proposes to rezone the property from M1 Limited Industrial District to B1 General Business District, along with companion conditional use permit applications for our off-premises beer and wine sales and a comprehensive sign plan. Approval of this application is contingent upon approval of the proposed rezoning. And I apologize, it should be CUP 2026-002. And next slide, please. So the proposed grocery includes a drive-through pharmacy designed to provide residents with convenient access to prescription medications. According to the applicant, the development would provide the town's second pharmacy and first pharmacy with a drive-through service, improving access to healthcare services for residents. Pursuant to section 70-247B15 of the town code, a drive-through pharmacy window is permitted in the B1 district upon approval of a conditional use permit. The proposed use is integrated into the overall site design and is compatible with the surrounding commercial development proposed for the property. Next, please. Staff recommend, following a public hearing, approval of a resolution recommending town council adoption of an ordinance approving CUP 2026-002, the application for a conditional use permit to permit a drive-through pharmacy window, an allowed use in the B1 district with conditions, and a CUP at parcels identified as GPN 8289-24-2502, 8289-14-7901, and 8289-14-8945, addressed as 17439 Old Stagecoach Road, 17471 Old Stagecoach Road, and right-of-way respectively. Thank you. Next, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Okay, I want to open up the public hearing for consideration of a resolution to recommend town council action regarding CUP 2026-002. Do we have any? Okay, so we'll close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion to consider the resolution to recommend the town action.
I was getting there, Mr. Moore. We'll close the public hearing at 8:12 on that matter. Okay, and we will ask for an adoption of the resolution recommending approval of CUP 2026-002.
I'll make the motion to adopt the resolution to approve CUP 2026-002.
We have a
A
motion
second.
and a second by Commissioner Wood, motion by Commissioner Beisel. All right, we will vote on this at this time. Commissioner Tony,
Yes.
excuse me, Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Beisel,
Yes.
and I approve. That motion carries 5-0.
Great. Can we bring up the next presentation? It's CUP 2026-003. Thank you. Next slide, please. CUP 2026-003. This is a public hearing and consideration. This is a request for a public hearing and consideration of a resolution recommending town council approval of a conditional use permit CUP to permit off-premises sales of beer and wine within the proposed grocery store development identified on parcels 8289-24-2502, 8289-14-7901, and 8289-14-8945, and addressed as 17439 and 17471 Old Stagecoach Road and right-of-way. Next, please. The town of Dumfries has received an application from Bridge Line Development Group, LLC, requesting approval of a conditional use permit to allow the off-premises sale of beer and wine within a proposed grocery store to be located at 17439 and 17471 Old Stagecoach Road. The property consists of approximately 15.33 acres. Next slide, please. The application is being reviewed concurrently with the rezoning application REZ 2026-001, which requests rezoning of the property from M1 Limited Industrial District to B1 General Business District. Together with companion conditional use permit applications, for the drive-through pharmacy and a comprehensive sign plan. Approval of this application is contingent upon approval of the requested rezoning. Next. The applicant proposes the sale of beer and wine in sealed containers for off-premises consumption as part of the grocery store's standard retail operations, and pursuant to section 70-247B11 of the Town Code, off-premises sales of beer and wine within the B1 General Business District require approval of a conditional use permit. Next, please. So staff recommend approval of the resolution recommending town council adoption of an ordinance approving the application CUP 2026-003, a conditional use permit to permit off-premises sales of beer and wine within the proposed grocery store located at the intersection of Route 1 and Potomac Shores Parkway, an allowed use in the B1 district with a CUP. And I'm happy to respond to any questions.
Any questions? Commissioner Bizel?
Because we are talking about zoning here, will this apply to the retail spaces for on-site alcohol sales? If a restaurant in there wanted to sell alcohol, is my first question. And then second of all, does off-premise cover if you did want to have alcohol sampling in the store? Sometimes a vendor, Budweiser, whoever it is, wants to come in and sample their new beer. So is small 1 ounce pours excluded when you're talking about an off-site permit only. So what I'm questioning is, will there be on-site capabilities on-site, whether at the retail or within the store?
For on-site, I would assume that an ABC license would be required,
Okay,
and they'll have to go through that process.
but per town coding,
This is off premises. This application is for off premises. Do you anticipate any on premises consumption?
Within the grocery store?
Yes.
Well, they're talking about sales, right?
the difference between off-premise is they drink it away.
Right, but sales. If they're doing a sample, that's not selling, it's a sample,
Okay.
so there's a difference.
Yeah. So there's that, but what about with the retail space within the zone?
That's correct. Yeah. So for a restaurant, you need an ABC license.
Okay. And I don't want that to be messed up per our town coding here. So the conditional use permit would allow on-site in condition that they would have a ABC permit.
So this would be for the grocery
This is
store.
grocery specific. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be able to sell.
Yeah.
Sell beer, sell wine.
Right.
Mhm.
So this is strictly for
The grocer
right.
and not the retailer.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, thank you.
And the retail, I'm sorry, the grocery,
Right,
yes.
right. And that's what
Correct.
we're,
Can I
our
get a
motion
little
is.
clarity? I keep using the term retailer. What are y'all? A retailer. Let me hear from, let me
The
hear what this.
retail building, there's a 6,700 square foot retail building that's attached to the grocery store that could have 3 or 4 tenants, one of which would be MCAP. We would be considering a restaurant.
Okay, okay.
That's
okay.
yeah.
And so then they gotta meet all the food, the alcohol consumption
Right,
laws
right.
and all that stuff.
That's right.
I know all about that.
Because Padrino, they was, before they closed, they had, they could sell alcohol.
Yeah,
They had,
yeah, is that's a whole nother ball of wax.
mhm.
No further questions.
Okay, Commissioner Wood,
I have no questions.
Commissioner Russell,
No questions.
Commissioner Tony, and I don't have a question. I'm looking forward to purchasing some beer that I normally don't get around here. y'all ain't talking too much, but I think it's it's going to be something different for you to put this type of money into a project.
Mhm.
You have to know that your what you're selling is going
Exclusive.
to move. So can I get a motion? I didn't open the public hearing, did I?
We need to check.
Let me-
Oh,
I will do
that's
that.
part of the
We,
public
hey,
hearing.
we trying to
do this
move
part.
now.
Right, yes. Mhm.
Say it again.
So we,
Okay.
yes.
I'm gonna open the public hearing, uh, at 8:20 to discuss this item. Item number 3 on our agenda. Uh, is there anyone?
We do have one comment.
Mhm.
They wanted to know why just beer and wine, no spirits or hard alcohol.
I mean, I can
You
respond.
can answer that. You can answer that.
In Virginia, that's not permitted.
Right.
Only ABC stores can sell
That's state regulated, yes.
other alcohol other than beer and wine.
That's right.
That is true.
And only grocers can only sell beer and wine.
It could be an ABC store in one of those.
Any other comments? Okay, we will close the public hearing on this matter at 8:21. At this time, I'd like to get a motion to adopt the resolution recommending approval of CUP 2026-003, a conditional use permit to permit off premises sales of beer and wine within the proposed grocery store development.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, have a motion by Commissioner Bizel. Can I get a second?
I'll say.
That was Ty. I'm gonna get at the Commissioner Tony, if you don't mind.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, and let's call for the vote on this. Commissioner Bizel?
Approve.
Okay, Commissioner Russell?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Tony?
Yes.
And I approve. That motion carries 5-0. Now, we move on to our last item.
Yes, sir. And this is a comprehensive sign plan, or CSP 2026-001. Next, please. This is a public hearing and a request for a public hearing and consideration of a resolution recommending town council adoption of an ordinance approving an application for a conditional use permit, CUP, for a comprehensive sign plan for the proposed commercial development on property identified as GPIN 8289-24-2502, 8289-14-7901, and 8289-14-8945, addressed as 17439 and 17471 Old Stagecoach Road and right-of-way respectively. Next, please. The town of Dumfries has received an application from Bridgeline Development Group, LLC, requesting approval of a comprehensive sign plan for the proposed grocery-anchored commercial development. The proposed location is approximately 15.33 acres, identified as the GPINs previously mentioned and addressed as previously mentioned. Next, please. The application is being considered concurrently with rezoning application REZ 2026-001, together with companion conditional use permit applications for drive-through pharmacy and off-premises beer and wine sales. Approval of the comprehensive sign plan is contingent upon approval of the requested rezoning from M1 Limited Industrial District to B1 General Business District. Next, please. The proposed comprehensive sign plan includes coordinated signs, monument signs, building mounted signs, and internally illuminated signage. All signs are intended to provide consistent architectural character and improve wayfinding throughout the development. Pursuant to section 70-14E11 of the Town Code, comprehensive sign plans within the B1 General Business District require approval of a conditional use permit. And next, we'd like to provide illustrations of the proposed signs. This would be the building mounted sign. Next, please. And next, please. And this would be a monument or freestanding sign. And next, please. And this illustrates the location of the freestanding sign, proposed location. And next, and this would be sample pharmacy drive-through signage or wayfinding signage. And the proposed locations of the wayfinding signage for the pharmacy. And next. And comprehensive sign plan, shopping center approved colors. Next, please. Staff recommend following a public hearing approval of a resolution recommending town council adoption of an ordinance approving the conditional use permit application CSP 2026-001 for a comprehensive sign plan for the proposed commercial development on property identified as GPN 8289-24-2502, 8289-14-7901, and 8289-14-8945, addressed as 17439 Old Stagecoach Road, 17471 Old Stagecoach Road, and right-of-way, respectively. Thank you, and I'm happy to respond to any questions.
Okay. Commissioner Tony. Any questions?
I didn't notice in terms about the signs, none of them were blinking. And I didn't think I remember you used the word self-illuminating, so that'd be electric sign.
Right, it's the monument sign cabinet is interior illuminated.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Wood?
Yes. Mr. Tabor, what the applicant submitted, does it meet all the town requirements on signage as far as like size, lighting, color? Does it meet all the required recommendations that the town had set?
They generally do, and we would have we do have a sign permit that would also be part of the process, and they would have to submit for a sign permit.
Okay.
And we would ensure that they
It
all
meets all the requirements?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm finished.
Commissioner Russell?
No comments or questions.
Okay. Commissioner Beisel?
I have no comment.
Okay. And I don't have any comments at this time. So I will open the floor up to public hearing on this, our fourth bullet point, to the consideration of a resolution to recommend town council action regarding CUP 2026-001, a comprehensive sign plan to permit signage for the proposed commercial development with a grocery.
Make the motion.
Nobody signed up.
You gotta slow down, sir. Nobody signed up.
Nobody has signed up.
Okay. So that being said, we will close the public hearing at 8:29 on this item. So at this time, I would like to get a motion to adopt the resolution recommending approval of CUP 2026-001.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Beisel. Can I get a second?
I second it.
Got a second by Commissioner Wood. And call for the vote on this. Commissioner Tony?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Russell?
Yes.
Commissioner Beisel?
And approve.
And I approve. That motion carries 5-0. With that, do we have any new business or staff
No, thank you. No, no, sir.
No, we have nothing.
No, sir.
Okay. All right, then we will officially adjourn this meeting at, let me make sure my time is right, 8:30.
No, no.
That's right on the dot.